now that you understand how crucial it is to discover what your gifts are, to be able to develop them and deliver them, we're going to challenge you to do that with every person around you in your life, with your family members, with your children, with your employees. We have got to stop focusing on what we think is wrong with people and focus on what's right about them. Focus on what their natural gifts and abilities are. I had a colleague who came to work one day and she wasn't in dress code. And the dress code was pantyhose, by the way, if that tells you how long ago it was. And so I sent her home to put on pantyhose. This was before I had honed my skills and before I had really figured out what my natural strengths were. And I wasn't a great leader. I was very by the book. Remember, part of my strength is being strategic. But I was following policy and procedure and not doing what was best for her. Her gifts and her talents and her ability weren't in the clothes that she wore. It didn't matter if she had her legs covered with pantyhose pants or a dress and didn't have pantyhose on. Her gifts, her name's Alicia, by the way, were to relate to people. Her gifts were to nurture people. Her gifts were to set the example for people. And she was one of the best colleagues that I've ever worked for because I finally came to the conclusion that it wasn't about the dress code. It wasn't about whether she wore pantyhose. It was about her gifts and her ability. She shared that through our organization. She shared that with our customers. She shares that with her son. She's very focused on the amazing things, the amazing person that he is, and not the challenges, right? But that's what we do as people, especially in the workforce. We give people the opportunity to improve because we're focused on their areas of improvement, which is ludicrous when they have so much talent to bring to the table that we overlook. We have got to, as a society, understand, especially where we spend a lot of our waking hours in corporate America, that people have these gifts and talents. And it's up to you as their leader, as their mentor, to understand and discover what they are. Just like with Stephanie, she could have very easily been fired, been demotivated, probably not feel very good about herself. But when somebody took the time to see what her gifts were and what her natural abilities were and not focus on the things that the other person thought she needed to improve on, she shined, she flourished, and she grew. And we all benefited because of it. When we took pantyhose out of the equation for dress code, Alicia had the opportunity to do what she did best every day, which was connect with people, which was serve people, which was show them what was wonderful about them. And again, she shined. She flourished. Our customers were happier because of it. Our entire team, our morale went up. Our sales went up, right? Those business outcomes are not driven by specific things or activities as much as they are driven by the people in your organization. Allow them to do what they do best every day. Give them the opportunity to discover who they are, what they have to bring to your organization. Then give them the opportunity to develop it every day. Every day, honing, refining, better, faster, stronger. And then give them the opportunity to deliver it to everyone in their world, your organization. They will be happier. You will be happier. They will be fulfilled. You will be fulfilled. Your clients will come back again and again because it'll be obvious that you're the organization that gives the opportunity for their people to shine and do what they do best every single day.
So I'd like to share with you a story about influence, about just how powerful influence is. And that is a story from a long time ago in my history, my childhood, of my third grade teacher, Mrs. Patterson. I distinctly remember her and have remembered her fondly for my entire life. But it wasn't until recently that I really understood the impact that she had as a leader in my life in doing what we're asking you to do for others. She had the distinct intention. She had an intention of not only caring for her students and wanting them to learn the best that they could, but to get to know them individually. And she discovered something about me that I didn't realize at the time, and I wouldn't really realize for years to come. She discovered that I was a learner, that I thrived on learning. I loved it. I loved going to class. I loved learning new information. I loved going home and sharing it with my family and my friends and having these conversations. And she discovered that. And in the midst of discovering that about me, she also discovered, by the way, that I'm a storyteller. And in the midst of discovering that, she also noticed a couple of things that would hinder my progress, that would hinder my ability to develop those gifts and then be eventually able to deliver them to the world. She noticed, one, I had a speech impediment. I had a pretty bad lisp. Also, she noticed that in my angst to learn, that I was often squinting at the chalkboard. Yep, we had chalkboards back then, not smartboards. And in my earnest desire to learn, I was squinting at the board, and I couldn't see things, and she moved me to the front of the class. Well, anyway, she identified those two things that were hindering my progress. While she didn't focus on them, and she didn't consider them as weaknesses, she knew that they were going to be a hindrance to my development as an individual and my ability to go and deliver who I was uniquely created to be to the world. And so she talked to my parents about my vision. And in the third grade, at 8 years old, I got glasses for the first time, which was a little bit of a blow to the self-esteem. Yet, it paved the path for me to continue my learning successfully, for which I'm very grateful. And two, she recommended speech therapy for me. Again, another little bit of a blow to the self-esteem at the time. But what she was doing was peeling away the layers that other people might consider as problems so that my gifts could shine. So little did I know in the third grade, and little did Mrs. Patterson know in the third grade, that I would eventually be a speaker and a writer. And here I am, having been unleashed to the world of vision to be able to learn and to be able to focus in class, and eventually be able to go on and get my graduate degree in clinical psychology, which just exemplifies that she discovered in me at that time that I was such a learner. I had no idea that's what I was going to do at the time. And having been in speech therapy, that prepared me, it paved the way for me to be able to go and speak this message to you. So what I want you to take from this message is that you have influence not just over other adults, but you have influence over children, and every word that you speak, everything that you bring to mind, that you bring to their attention. We want you to focus on what's right. Focus on what's right with them. Peel back the things that are hindering them. Don't focus on them. They're not character flaws, but peel back those layers that are keeping them from shining like the brilliant person that they were intended to be. Your influence and your ability to lead and enhance others through this process might not be realized by you for many years, if ever. In fact, I've recently decided to reach out to Mrs. Patterson because I've had such a profound revelation that was a pivotal moment in the success of my life, in the success of developing myself. And so I'm going to reach out to her. I'm going to try to find her, and I hope that I can. But she might never know the influence that she's had on my life, her leadership qualities that she demonstrated, because she didn't share herself with me as much as she shared me with me. And that's what we task you with. Go discover and develop and help the people in your life deliver who they are, and the magnitude of that message, the impact, will be farther reaching than you could ever imagine.